Growing up in the impoverished community of South Jamaica, Queens, was not easy. At the early age of 17, I realized that in order to better my life, I had to put all of my hopes into the one thing that I cared about the most, my education. However, in my community, the opportunities were stacked against me, especially as a black male. In South Jamaica, the idea of graduating from high school was considered more of a dream than a reality. The more common reality of prison and death, in fact, felt more tangible than that of obtaining a diploma. While I managed to escape the inner workings of the prison system and the prevalence of gun violence in my community, they both shaped my life experiences. Unfortunately, 3 of my closest friends were drawn into the very trap that I had managed to escape. I lost one to the prison system, and the other 2 were met with more permanent fates. They were victims of a homicide, which made the idea of graduating from high school even more or less tangible. After some deep reflection, I decided and vowed that I would do everything in my power to ensure that my life turned out differently, and that I would use my success to inspire others. Fortunately, that same year, I was given the opportunity to attend a prominent boarding school called KIPP Academy. Attending KIPP helped me realize that all young people need support on the path to success, and that young men, specifically, would be involved in a process where they would experiment with risk-taking, and also as they found their way to developing their self-identity and exerting their independence. Despite progress on many fronts, young boys of color continue to face many obstacles towards success in American society. And in some cases, many suffer disproportionately from economic and social disadvantages. Given these facts, one often questions what can be done, what must be done. Is this a lost generation? Or are there interventions that can be put in place to bring real hope and real results? There are many institutional systems that play a key role in the long-term success of young boys of color, one being America's juvenile justice system. Young boys of color are more than likely to have time spent in the juvenile justice system for factors that are outside of their control. For example, attending schools with harsh disciplinary policies, or living in communities with no after-school programs or resources that help young people stay out of trouble at an early age. To change the odds for young boys of color, it is very important that we move beyond looking at the risk factors and focus more on the opportunity factors that help our young men to grow up healthy, educated, and employed. One of the ways that we can begin to do this and move in this direction is by dismantling what we call the school-to-prison pipeline, by creating alternative measures to addressing in-school behaviors, and also reducing the over-policing that we see in many of our schools. Secondly, is closing what many consider to be the opportunity gap, by giving our boys the opportunity to experience things outside of their communities, which in turn helps them to develop a very critical life skill, the ability to dream past what they see in their community every day. Thirdly, is by focusing on best practices around mental health and helping us find tailored approaches to work with young men of color who have experienced trauma and violence at an early age. And lastly, investing and supporting our young men in enrolling in career training programs that blend workforce development and education so that we can provide them with more career opportunities upon graduation. There is nothing more important to the future of our society, and more so critically important to the future of our society, than helping all young people find and reach their full potential. For many of us, that road is very difficult. But for young men of color, they often face many more challenges than we do. And in often cases, their challenges are even more harmful. Today, I stand before you to challenge you not to just look beyond this issue, but to accept the challenge to rewrite history for young boys of color. Thank you.